I'd like to adopt the agenda with one change. I'd like to do the chair report first and move the item that's going to require some conversation further down in the agenda so we have plenty of time for it. And don't feel rushed with the updates as well.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Chair update is pretty brief. We began the process we had announced of reminding monthly folks who had attendance issues greater than 5 over the prior 12 months. We will be continuing that. And we have had several people concerned about the accuracy of the data and have done research and made corrections where that was warranted in a very few cases. But as we go forward, please make every effort to make sure that you're accurate in the information that you provide to the office about your committee attendance. In that we will be referring folks who again raise data questions around their committee attendance. We'll refer those questions to the co-chairs. Please make sure that you have a good basis for the decisions that you make there. That's all. We're still waiting on the president naming 8 new members to our board. I'm not sure that we will have them in time for the May full board. That would be ideal. But it looks like they may be somewhat delayed in that score. So with that, we're just fingers crossed. I think there's a busy month ahead with a number of really major issues that are percolating, and I think we will hit on those as we do our chair updates for the most part. And for any others, we'll stop and make sure there's additional comment on them. And I would turn it over to Max for his district manager report.
Thanks. So as you all probably saw, we're testing a new sign-in method this month. If you haven't already, grab this little thing here and use your, and Josh has one too, and try scanning into your attendance. We're not definitely doing this. It's just one of several different tests we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks. And hopefully we'll settle on something that's most effective. On an adjacent topic, if we look to track attendance more effectively, as Beverly already alluded to, we may be reaching out to co-chairs to help us verify some of the data. Per the protocol Beverly laid out at the last full board in an email on April 3rd, I reached out to all board members with over 5 absences to let them know where they stood, 6 being the limit and 5 meaning we're approaching the limit. Some board members felt the data was inaccurate, which is also why we're testing new ways of capturing the data. Also, thank you to all co-chairs who've made the effort to sit through our training so far. I know Alex and Jesse have done some, and I've done some, and we appreciate it. At the end of the month, I'm going to be circling back with all co-chairs to see how you felt about the owls and the new technology. So far, I've gotten a lot of feedback from the public that the audio has been improved, actually. And the visual, there's not really been positive or negative comment. It's about the same, but that the audio has improved so far. But I'll be reaching out to everyone more formally for additional feedback. Let's see here. After some testing, I'd like to let the co-chairs know that when you have presenters or speakers, it would be good if where Josh and Kay are speaking, that is where you have speakers that show up in person. That is where they sit for that segment of it. It seems to work best with the configuration. So just be mindful that when you do have in-person presenters or speakers. And that's it. Back to Beverly.
Great.
Oh, I have one question for Max.
Yeah.
Related to attendance. I think this is great using the QR code.
Yeah.
Do we have a sense as to what other community boards are doing, just to kind of get a sense as to best practices?
I don't actually. I know there's definitely some that are still using, probably the majority are still using the traditional sign-in thing.
And many are doing actual roll call.
Yes, actually, that's true as well. Yeah.
Which take hours.
Yeah,
Right, that's too time
That's one of the
consuming.
troubles.
Right.
And one of the reasons why
Back-
I'm not
back to
really
the
one,
future.
what's that?
Back to the future.
Yes. I'm not really one for changing things unnecessarily, but our data was, inaccurate in some instances, so we're trying to figure out a way to, and when you scan a QR code, it timestamps you here in this meeting, then it's irrefutable, then, staff doesn't have to waste a bunch of hours, or committee co-chairs don't have to waste a bunch of hours going back and reviewing YouTube videos and squinting to see who was there.
You can sign cards, irrefutably yours.
Exactly.
it's the same every time.
Yes, that's right.
So is there any way that somebody could cheat if they wanted to?
No, there'd be no way to cheat on this one.
I mean, you copied it, if you had a photograph of it in your.
Can you let Elizabeth know?
I guess that's
You could
true.
theoretically.
Maybe that would be the way to
If
cheat,
Barbara
yeah.
doesn't show, I could text her a picture.
But we think, frankly, I would hope no one's cheating. But we'll find out, so
Don't see Barbara at a meeting and she's, in the minutes, you'll know.
we'll know.
This is 7, not 5.
No.
It's an issue at other community boards
Yeah.
as well.
Yes. Yes.
That's an overwhelming yes. Yes. Okay, yeah.
I
I
think
think
there
that's
are
what-
other boards that have more trouble making quorum even than we do.
That's definitely an issue.
So
Incredible.
as it, all right, I'm trying to sort of mix up the order in which I call in committees, just to, so say people aren't always the end, which. So I'm gonna start with housing and land use.
Okay, so, the city of yes proposal, the housing opportunity came out. Past couple of days, it's been circulated to the committee. Our plan to address this is kind of twofold. One, we're gonna speak about tomorrow. There are 8 different proposals which we'll speak about. And then at our next meeting, city planning is going to come and present in May. So we'll discuss it tomorrow and we will come up with, ideas, yes or no, questions that we can send to city planning. And then, after our May session at which city planning will present, at that point, we will hopefully vote on a resolution, about the proposal. So I circulated, there is a 1-page, overall overview. And then there is a very helpful, illustrative proposal, from city planning, and then there's the actual zoning text itself, which is long, for many pages. Yeah, if we can all review those and set those, tomorrow, and then again, no, that's the plan.
Just not to get everybody's hopes up, most of these proposed changes have no applicability in community code 7. But 1 or 2 may. So, and so we have to decide how much we're gonna weigh in on the ones.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point, that's a good point.
I also understood from news today that the governor is saying there's a conceptual budget agreement that includes.
A lot of housing stuff.
So again, we calling you guys to
Yeah,
look and see, do we need to become involved in supporting or
yeah. that's-
asking about
By
any
the
of
time we
that?
do that, it'll be either passed or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it'll be important to know how it's
How it
likely.
affects. Yeah. Yeah, and it will affect city of yes and,
Yeah.
so, yes, so yeah, we will definitely be commenting on that.
Great. You have no resolutions coming this month for the next board?
No, not this one.
What, yeah,
So, one of the things we're doing as far as, innovation, we have, as you know, 2 high school students on our YEL committee. And we're going to have Ava, take a shot at actually leading the meeting with my supervision and help. Additionally, we have a speaker from Include NYC to talk about programming and issues related to youth with disabilities. We may have a resolution on this for the full board meeting next month. And then lastly, we have a speaker from Goddard Riverside to talk about youth programming. which has been in the works for a while.
Great. That's a full meeting. HHS,
Okay, so we're going to focus on for the second level, mental health issues. We've had the borough president's presentation at our meeting, and it was extensive. Now we want to know from the Department of Health and Mental Health, number one, what is realistic in terms of programs, what the costs of them would be, how they would apply to our district. So we're going to have two representatives from there. And it's basically to help us formulate our district needs and expenses, it's coming very quickly.
and there's no likelihood of a resolution coming out of this meeting.
No,
More
it's,
informal.
it's to get the information that we need.
Transportation.
We had a very interesting meeting with Dr. Donald Shoup as our guest speaker, who's a parking expert. And he touched on all kinds of issues from parking benefit districts to residential parking permits. And having the city contribute money from this to our district, to the MTA, and a whole host of other things. So it was quite a detailed presentation. There were a lot of questions. We do not have a resolution. It was formulated because so many people are fearing that with the onset of congestion pricing, hordes of people are going to be coming to the Upper East and Upper West Side looking for parking. I frequently say, as Sam Schwartz did, that once you try it, you won't try it again because of the lack of parking spaces and the high cost of our garages and boarding an already well overcrowded subway or bus. You know, the New York Post has reported they're seeing all these out-of-state plates. A lot of our residents actually have out-of-state plates, but they're seeing them all over. And so it's an issue that's on people's minds. We don't have a resolution, but we will be following up on this topic for sure. Yes.
I had the opportunity to meet Don Shoup many years ago, and he used, for those of you who don't know, he's really like the guru on this topic. And I thought it was most interesting at the end of your meeting when he said, well, you've all left me with a lot to think about. I thought that was amazing for him, because, you know,
Everybody had issues, yes.
yeah, district, you know, somebody pointed out, we're not California, which is where Dr. Shoup is from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was most interesting.
Yeah, I think both he and we learned from this meeting.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Well, yeah, the on the ground concern. Right?
Absolutely.
The folks with the coming of congestion.
What's the significance of the out-of-state plates? Do they get a differential rate? or something?
No, but people think that
It's
when you see
outsiders
those-
using our
Yeah.
spot.
These congestion pricing, people
I
may be
see.
coming
Yeah.
here and parking their cars
Yeah.
to avoid the.
What are the locations of the stanchions? You know what I'm talking about?
yes, they were across 60th Street.
They're across 60th.
Yeah, river to river.
River to river,
Just look up.
and but not between 60th and 61st.
No,
No, because
They're right
people
there
were
on
complaining, and I said, I know who to ask.
And they find they're on the north and the southbound, which is, I find funny.
a lot of people think that that is a precursor to being charged for leaving as opposed to entering, and it's not.
No.
I think it's to track the plates, which there are so many counterfeit, covered, and phony plates. That's to track those.
Okay, thank you. Parks.
Our next meeting is May 20th, and we have two things on the agenda for that one. The first one is a presentation from the Department of Cultural Affairs and on the Percent of Arts programs. They're doing a new art installation on Fifth Avenue on East 103rd Street. And they're basically approaching all the community boards adjacent to the park to kind of give them the presentation. It's an amazing piece. It's by, it's called Beyond Sims by the artist Vinnie Bagwell. There's no resolution and that would be for June, and there's no vote required. The second thing is, there's going to be a presentation by DPR. They're going to come and this is a good one. It's going to be the design and restoration of the soldiers and sailors monument.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the main focus of that work, you guys know, has been restoration. But because they have some new design changes, they do have to kind of present a lot of this. And so the focus of their presentation to us is going to be on the ADA access to the terraces and also what the new design changes are in addition to touching base on the restoration. That one is a resolution is required, and we expect to bring that to full board for vote.
That would be in June.
Yes.
Yeah.
Timely.
Yes.
Do you know when the soldiers and sailors might pop up on the agenda? Like, are you doing like an hour for each, or you have no?
No, I don't know. It really varies, but
You have a preference.
yeah.
Well, I have another meeting at 6, but I could make it over here by 7:30.
It depends also on whether or not they attend. If they do attend, we tend to put them first. But you know, as long as we just keep touching base, we'll make it work.
Okay. Thank you. Budget and strategy.
So, thanks to Alex, we've created a spreadsheet from the database because we thought it'd be easier than sitting around the database. And so far we've sent it to transportation. Each of the committees will be getting it this week. It has the capital expense budget requests, the capital and the expense budget requests, and has the short name of what we called it. So if you want more, you have to go into the database. And it has the agency's response to CB7 and the CB7 reply and where it's completed. Our database, which is available on the website to look at, lists more information, and it lists, and I what I can do when I send around is note how long this has been on our list, because some requests are revenue and some requests aren't. And then also we'll tell you if certain things are completed. So it's going to be very helpful. What we're recommending, and Seema is here as a member, Carrie and the staff, we're all available in May and early June to help you figure out where to look for information, because we're not only suggesting that you talk to the agencies, and in some instances it means having the chairs of the co-chairs of the committee meet independently with the agency, because very often if they come to a full board meeting, they're not going to be as forthcoming. And talk to the shareholders, the stakeholders, and also, for example, with housing, we can go through the census data and try and pull up some things. I've been wanting to do a deep dive into certain areas where we know new buildings have gone up, to look back 10 or 15 years census data to see many of those buildings were not rent stabilized. They weren't in this project, or they weren't in Chalama, but the rents were low, and we can tell that by the income level. And so if the income level, say, was in an area was the average income was $30,000 a year, and now the average income is $120,000 a year.
You know.
$120,000 a year. We know that we've lost housing. So it's not great data, but it is helpful data. And I'll be reaching out to Kay on the food insecurity stuff, because again, it's incomplete data. So anyway, we are available. We we're willing to come to a meeting. We're willing to sit down with you or a member of the committee. Transportation and parks are both going to be looking at specific areas, so they're going to be sending members of the committee out to scout locations. And if you take pictures, we can now put them into the district needs statement. We can't put them into the budget request. We can put them into the district needs. So give a really great picture. For example, playground that really is disgusting looking. You get a picture of it filled with water when it floods. It's worth thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, rats swimming in the water.
ADA curb cut at 74th and Riverside for handicap into Riverside Park.
Oh, really?
Been going on for years. Yeah. I'll
Excellent.
send you a picture.
Thank you. Thank you. Preservation.
All right. We've got 5 resolutions. Fortunately, none of them is monumental. So there's one from the Met Museum, replacing roofs, pretty much in kind, and then it's the usual window replacements, brownstone, rooftop things. So, nothing controversial.
How many?
5.
When you discuss the soldiers and sailors monument, then it'll be monumental.
Okay, so that reminds me that, your committee may have strong interest in
I think they will, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in attending this meeting, so we should make a special effort to ensure that preservation is aware.
We extended the
Yeah,
invitation.
We gotta
Yeah.
figure it out. Good.
Okay, BCI,
Yes, we had no meeting. In hindsight, we should have had a meeting. Yeah. So we apologize for
but
that.
we will get to that.
Yeah, so, but we had no application in front of us. That's why we made that decision too quickly. And then, so again, let's get to it now, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it.
So, but no resolutions, no applications.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think only one so far for next month.
All right, any candidates coming in? No.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right,
What's likely that one will open up?
senior task force? Senior task force?
We're meeting on Thursday, programs are. One of the things the senior task force is gonna be looking at probably in May is, budget for budget priorities and district needs. So great. This month is just a regular meeting in our May meeting. We've asked everyone to come and bring, where there's a lack of funding, where there are specific needs. The senior population continues to grow. Housing and food insecurity are major goals. Thank you. Social media platforms.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start posting our regular updates on May. That's like this meeting is happening on this date. Here's the schedule for the month. So far, just Instagram and Facebook. We're still trying to get access to Twitter. We're making our TikTok.
Give me X.
We got access to an app called Munch, which takes the YouTube videos and turns them into short clip. We'll also be trying that out. Could go well, could go not well.
All of you are informed about it. I think it's important.
Yeah, you can totally look
See it.
and give us feedback on it while it goes out. And yeah, that's it. If anyone has access to Twitter. let them know.
It's the thing about the Twitter account is that it, and actually I haven't seen you, but it is going back to the old office at cb7.org.
Oh,
Email address, and unless somebody, I know Barbara notionally, I sent that email out to a bunch of people with the username and password, but I don't have it on my laptop anymore, and when
I think I have it.
you might have it, so.
Yeah.
But it would have to be linked to your email in addition to Office at C. I think everything was going through.
I think it still went, I never stopped. All right, so if we have a way to go,
That's great.
Rather than starting from scratch, that would be one.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to start from scratch.
yeah, okay. Yeah, and using Instagram.
Yeah,
If we have a-
yeah, we got that again.
We are meeting on Friday, like the three of us will.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're meeting on Friday.
That's a good group, so.
Sounds good.
That's great.
Great.
Truth Social.
Uh-huh. Okay, so that concludes chair reports. I want to take this issue that has suddenly gotten lots of concern raised in a slightly different direction. Max, can you please do the honor?
yeah. Give me a second. It's buried here. I'm just
I think
sharing
our
my screen.
concern was that when we went to this webinar, many of us, that was run by the DOT, basically they said we could start receiving these applications within 2 weeks, and that was 2 weeks ago. So we're getting there. And right now, the only way our board can speak as a board is through a vote of the full board. This law was designed in such a way that that is impossible to do going forward. Which means we have to reinvent a procedure for reviewing and protecting our community in the instance that various applications arise that are not necessarily what we would like to see in the community and that might cause grief. There was a draft that was circulated that a number of people have commented on. And the brunt of the comments was we need time to meet as a committee and really get essentially the thoughtful combination of interests and get a consensus built that this does not represent. I'm sympathetic to that, and late this afternoon, I wrote this, and it's not in good legal language.
It's also on that.
I'm not a lawyer, but the point of this was to protect us between now and our meeting in June, which would be the first time a committee resolution adopted in the coming month would be eligible for vote. When we would have presumably a much fuller kind of protocol that we're putting forward, that this would ensure that any applications that land in our lap in the coming month are ones we have some way of responding to, right? So this is written as an interim effort to protect our community until we can get something we all can agree to in place. And so this is the language. I'm not gonna read it. You can read it. Yes, sir.
One minor alteration to suggest, where it says committee vote will be deemed to be the official response of CB7. I would add a phrase at the beginning of that sentence that in the event that there is no full board meeting.
Okay.
And ensuring has an E on it, on.
Yes, ensure.
Hang on, in the event, sorry, Richard.
In the event that there is no full board meeting within
Time constraints. Yes.
time window allowed by DOT.
Okay. Perfectly good. And we want to change my ensuring to ensuring.
Where is that?
On the
Bottom line of this top paragraph.
Oh,
ensuring, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, any other thoughts about this? Again, this is something that will get us through the next month. That's all it's intended.
Beverly, a question? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does transportation want to be part of this? Because I thought you had originally said you did not. I mean, I think it would be appropriate if you want to. It's good.
I don't know that our whole committee can make both of the
Yeah.
meetings, but if we can, we certainly want to.
Okay, good.
Mark had suggested by email late this afternoon that it be a joint meeting, so that's what I was essentially trying to accommodate.
But I have a legal question.
I think it's essential that transportation be involved, particularly with respect to the roadway.
For the roadway pieces, I think we need to have an ongoing DOT.
Absolutely.
Because the roadway pieces are less likely to be of concern relating to kind of the usual, sidewalk cafe concerns, and much more likely to be concerned with the use of the curb.
Yeah.
Right, and what the competing needs are on the curb in that particular location.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. While I agree with this approach, I'm wondering if the city of New York would consider something other than a full board vote.
No, they are indifferent to us doing, they don't care what we do, as long as they have it set up so that the community board response is input into a system that they have developed specifically for this purpose. And it can only be input by somebody with a city email, which means our office staff. Right? They don't care where it comes from. It doesn't have to be a resolution. It's a fill in the blanks, and that's it. That's what they have devised. So essentially, our traditional approaches to doing work of this kind are being called into question. We can't use them. We need to come up with something else. The fact, I know that, Richard, you were suggesting earlier today that we have a system where we go with the vote of a committee, and then after the window is shut, go on, pass the resolution. There's no place for a resolution.
Maybe.
So we
use something like mail. If DOT has an address.
No, they won't consider it. That's the point, outside the window.
Still important, I think, because as I understand it, the staff, anybody who, if a community board objects, there's a public hearing.
Correct, so
And
we
the full
could
board vote
testify,
is important.
we could testify at the public hearing,
But
based
testimony
on,
should include a full, the results of the full board.
the board could vote on its testimony, I suppose.
Maybe we should object to everything. That's what we used to do. We used to do with the state, with liquor stuff, right? And other things that we would have to come back and have something, but.
I think that way lies madness.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of.
Of course, but then if there's a doubt, then it should be.
Well, if there's a doubt, yeah.
Right.
And if there's specifics, we should say what the specific concerns are. But this is to get us through June. And I expect that the joint committees will come to the June full board with a perfectly agreed on.
Well, we can't call it joint committees because we're living on the west side with 2 on every wall.
DOT is so far behind in everything, we may not even get an application.
It's possible, but if we do, I would like to make sure.
I move this, it's
I second.
very reasonable.
Yeah, you're here.
I second.
All in favor?
Hang on a second. I think we should have, I'm ready for more discussion. I'm not finished. So I think
We
we are.
can discuss, but are we ready to vote? We could vote and then discuss.
Okay, so you made a motion.
Can we call
You're
question?
the chair. Are you ending discussion on this?
No,
Okay,
but I'd like a vote.
right.
Okay. So let's vote and then we could continue discussion as long as people have something they wish to add. Okay?
Yeah.
All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? Anyone ineligible to vote? Okay,
Can I ask just as a,
Can you speak a little louder?
can I ask as a convenience that the staff circulate DOT rules, and I know we got one, but I
Yeah.
think it'd be helpful. to
No
have-
problem.
Because a lot of the resolution that we didn't vote on tonight says, it has to, as long as it conforms to DOT rules, I think we need to know what they are in detail.
okay, now that's the reason request.
Yeah, no problem.
Does you really have
Well,
to add?
Oh, look, I think
I'll send,
now that we're going to have this, now they're going to have this joint meeting, I think I can save a lot of commentary, but yes, in reading the resolution, there were a lot of things that I felt were problematic. And I just really quickly just say, like, for example, the health letter grades, while we all care about them, can be very subjective. And there are things that are very benign and I think it's out of our purview, quite frankly. There are, and I've heard lots of stories where if the Department of Health wants to shut down a restaurant, they do. So if a plastic straw that's sealed and sanitary falls into an ice bin, that's a violation. So we have to be careful about that. And also, even the Department of Sanitation violations, there's again, some things are egregious, and I think we can all agree to that. And then some things it's the neighbor's garbage that the restaurant got the
the violation for, and they're adjudicating it, why would we hold back? So,
So I'm not sure that with this revised effort, there's a need to do what that resolution was designed to do, which was to provide objective criterion that could delegate it to the office. If we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Then it falls to the committees that have the background and the understanding.
Good.
Makes more sense.
good.
To do that.
Yeah.
So
So it's
we
moved.
may end up with a much more, a resolution that is far more focused on process than on criterion. And I think that would probably be better, frankly.
Sounds good to me.
The item that was the most egregious to me was that if you happen to have a restaurant and you want a roadbed.
I take responsibility for that because I was informed that it was against the law.
Yeah, but it's
And I
not,
felt
right?
that if we were,
It's not.
it is against state law, but nobody has ever enforced it.
There, I can answer
Well-
that. There were some things left out up in New York State law, some things that they kind of missed.
Okay, but in any case.
So I think we can remain silent
I
on
don't-
it, but my concern
Yeah.
was that I didn't want to have us at jeopardy by approving something that was in violation of state law. But I'm fine to not have that anywhere near it.
And I think that when we do finalize this resolution, since it is just about empowering our staff to do certain functions for us, there's no reason to put in any of the things that we find egregious, even if they happen to be in the DOT regs.
What we need is something that is very operational.
Yeah.
And that is streamlined and that we can deliver within the timelines that the DOT has given us.
I just to address what Barbara just said. I think it's important that when joint committees reach a resolution, they spell out the objections and that be communicated.
Oh, if there are objections, of course they would be spelled out.
Yeah. I mean, when they meet around a specific application.
Yeah.
Yes, and the DOT has requested that.
But they always do that.
Which agency has made it so that we don't have the timeline that we've had for endless years? Committee vote, full board vote, or at least steering vote.
DOT.
DOT has changed the way they're doing things.
Well, the city council voted it as well.
Yeah,
And it's in the spirit of this administration's desire for speeding up,
Getting stuff
you
done.
know, yeah.
Except if you want to talk to Ed Pinkar, who's the Manhattan Borough Commissioner, the DOT, you have to fill out a 6-page form.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
it just doesn't.
I just call them on
I mean,
that.
the fact
Yeah,
that
that's what I was.
these are city agencies and they know how community boards work and they understand the timing of it obviously stinks because they know that that's a way to circumvent.
Yeah,
And I think it was planned that way and it's unfortunate.
I think it was planned that way.
So anyway, we have our marching orders now. And presumably the two committees can confer as to how and when to make this happen. So that there is a full discussion and presentation that meets everyone's concerns. Any old business? Any new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Well,
Oh, I just,
She beat you to it. I'm sorry, go ahead. We have a.
this is more of an observation, and I don't want to be like the bad person here, in this discussion. But I've noticed like the last 3 committee meetings and even regularly, I feel like we're starting meetings a lot earlier, like when as soon as there's a quorum, business will start. And sometimes I've come in and there have been matters that have even been voted on by a committee. And even if I'm there like at 6, like right at 6:30 when the time the meeting starts. And I'm just wondering if that's just, I know that's technically what we can do. If you have a quorum, you can start conducting business. And I care less about like committee members and more about the public in this. Is that something other people are noticing or experiencing?
I agree with you.
Yes.
Start on the time of the start.
Like,
Start
I
at
just-
6:30.
At 6:30.
What meetings?
I noticed that at all.
you're saying that the meetings have actually started before their scheduled time?
Yes, there are
I walked on in at 6:30.
Meeting was ongoing.
Yeah.
No, you wait, she waited.
We waited.
We waited.
Online.
We call the meeting to order.
We always wait till 6:30.
We do as well in YEL.
And for
We
the-
started 6:30.
I just think on occasion, I do think, it's just something I've noticed.
And from a tech perspective, because we're all now learning, me, Alex and Jesse are learning this new tech, I know we're definitely not starting on time since the hours, we're starting late, if anything.
By the way, Andrew, Albert could
No,
speak of it
there's
in terms of getting here on time.
items are being voted on
No,
before 6:30, just
I've
just for the sake of.
Experienced that.
Okay, well,
I have it.
Yeah.
okay, other people have.
I just add, if you're doing business before a scheduled time that was publicly noticed, I think I would agree that's
But I don't think
not
you do.
cool, but I don't.
Well,
But we'll
haven't
be-
seen it.
We're mindful not to do it again, sure.
Start when you said you were.
Yeah.
Sure.
To the public.
But starting early, is what we're talking about.
Okay, motion to
So,
adjourn.
hang on a second, so just so you know,
All in favor?
Mind if we?
first of all, Robert's rules, I gotta say, you're not, okay, in the middle of the discussion. First of all, I just wanted to simply say that the 86th Street subway stop is gonna be renovated. So we're talking about scheduling, we're gonna have an issue. Some people who are taking the subway are gonna have to go to 96 or to 79th Street, and that's gonna happen pretty soon, right, Andrew?
That's no different than a meeting anywhere.
I know that the station, I plan my trip, so I
That's why I'm
know.
mentioning it, so to
So I
better
know
plan
if
it.
I need to get off at 79th Street,
End of April.
it's gonna
early
take
June.
me 8 more minutes to walk, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave 8 minutes earlier to get to the meeting, so I can be on time.
That's right, in
Can I
case
make a
anyone didn't know, it's gonna be, it's gonna
And
be
after
shut
that, it's
down.
gonna be the
Can I-
financial side, so.
Can I make a post, red paper?